My name is Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your number one source for real estate advice online. And thank you so much for checking out my channel. I haven't made any videos in a long time, but I have a lot of videos being stored right now into the queue in order to get them to you. And anyways, my channel is about anything and everything related to real estate investing. I'm actually a landlord. I manage my own properties, which is interesting. And a lot of properties I got about going through tax sales, basically. So I'm kind of sharing my experience and everything I learned along the way, and also kind of, trying to teach you something always. I have a couple audiobooks, so please don't hesitate to check out the website right here. That's where my audiobooks are. I also offer coaching and in tax sale foreclosures or anything else you might need help with. So check those classes out, or those sessions out, the mentoring sessions as well as classes. So, or you can just schedule a call with me for a few minutes just to chat and talk to me. And of course, there's no charge for that ever. Just contact me and let me know so I can send you the link for my calendar. Anyways, let's talk about this video. This video is about Airbnb horror stories. Now, I looked the other day on my Airbnb channel, and Airbnb account, I should say, and I realized that I've been doing Airbnb, I've been a host on Airbnb for 11 years. That's a long time. And I manage my own properties. So over all these years, a lot of things have happened. I had the craziest guest experiences, and really good guests, and also guests that were just terrific. And over the years, you kind of start to see a pattern a little bit, and what kinds of people will cause you problems and what kinds of people don't, and what kinds of problems appear. So the problems themselves is really what I want to focus on in this video. This video is about Airbnb horror stories. Long introduction, I know. So I have this lady right now. She's staying at my house in Atlanta. It's a little bit ways from where I live, so it takes me, a little bit of planning to go up there between guests, because I like to check it over. Sometimes I stay there a couple nights and do stuff in Atlanta. I also do my own cleaning. So this lady checked in a day before Thanksgiving, basically telling me that, she's buying a new house and she's closing not until December 15th, and she needs a place for the holidays. She has 4 children, and it was 2 adults. So I'm like, okay, generally one thing to really watch out for is if people that book a longer stay that's sort of expensive, if they do it at the very last minute, like I'm checking in today or I'm checking in tomorrow, that's kind of like a little bit of a red flag already. But again, my main color, of course, is green, so I'm in business to make money, so of course I accepted her. And of course I didn't have any reason not to. So she came and she checked in. There was no problem. A couple days go by. Thanksgiving, of course, is over. I have outside cameras, but I'm not really checking the cameras unless there's actually a problem. So I haven't really looked at it. And then she comes to me and she says, I really don't like your house. Literally, that's what she said. And I'm like, oh, okay, what's wrong with it? Is there something broken? Do I need to attend to something? No, nothing. It's just, I don't like it. And it's not friendly. And I'm actually scared here. And I'm like, okay, well, does that mean there is a burglar? Or is there, some sort of danger looming? I mean, what's the problem? I'm trying to solve the problem here, She's like, no, I don't like it. I just want a refund. And I'm like, okay, well, we have a minimum stay of 14 days at this particular listing, and there's a strict cancellation policy. And if you've been on Airbnb for a while, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But when a guest agrees to book something on Airbnb, you're the host, the reason we use the platform, and the platform gets 20% from 17% from the guest and 3% from me as the host, is so they can ensure that the guidelines are met, that there's insurance, that there's support personnel, customer service, that you're not being discriminated against, and all the other things that come into play when you have tenant and landlord. and that's what we pay for. So my first solution, or my seeking of solution, is basically to find what the problem actually here is and fix it so that she's happy and she feels comfortable. You know, I know the place was very clean. I cleaned it myself. I spent 2 days up there cleaning. I bought supplies. I, you know, put new toothbrushes out and everything that I do, you know, little things for the guests. I even bought some candies for this lady because she had kids. Then I was like, okay, well, no problem. If you don't like it, you don't have to stay there. I'm not going to make you. But if you do check out, please observe my cancellation policy is strict, but I do make, as a courtesy, I basically offer people a refund if I can rebook the day. So if you don't want to stay there, it's best for you to leave as soon as possible so I can go up there, I can clean it, get it ready, re-rent it to the next person, and then that payment will then go to you, basically, or whatever, you know, is the difference. So another day goes by and I don't really hear anything, and then all of a sudden my phone starts to blow up. I'm getting calls from Airbnb, I'm getting calls from Airbnb security team, I'm getting a call from the customer service, from the support ambassador, and she's obviously texting me too. And I was like, what is going on? Like, she's like, this is the most horrible house ever. I'm leaving right now. My kids, you have stolen the happiness of my kids. I mean, she's really going ballistic at this point. Apparently, she took a picture of a stain on the couch, which she said it qualifies for complete refund and her not having to pay anything. So I started looking at the cameras and I'm like, let me just go back the last couple days and look at all the clips that were recorded on the cameras outside. And I see people coming and going, and I'm like trying to identify how many people there actually were. And I could count at least 10 people. So I mentioned this to her, and she actually proceeds and goes in front of the camera right at that time. And with the few people that were there at the time, and starts counting them for me and calling me the B word to the camera. We're here on YouTube right now and you're watching this video. I can actually add that little particular clip. Now, I hate doing that because there's going to be a whole bunch of you guys watching this that say, oh my God, you're discriminating and you shouldn't put her video with her kids on YouTube for the whole world to see. But I just want you guys to see what it's actually like to be an Airbnb host and the kinds of people that you'll have to deal with if that's something that you want to manage on your own. I've been doing this, like I said, for 11 years. This is not the first time this happened. When you basically remind people kindly, hey, you know, there's house rules, you should have followed them, but you didn't, and I have proof. This is the kind of response that you get.
1 baby, 2 babies, 3. I'm 4. He is 5. She in the house. 6 people, lying bitch. 6 people. Thank you.
And I have a lot more clips like that. So if you want to see that kind of stuff, of course. I know there's going to be a lot of you guys who are going to be really mad at you. You shouldn't post that. But you know what? It's my YouTube channel. If she contacts me and says, hey, take it down, then I'll take it down, you know. But at this point, the camera recorded this. I didn't do anything to harass her or even make her act that way. She just turned out to be that way. In addition, she sent me messages, and the messages are on the nature of, it seems like you are from Germany. I guess she read that on my profile or researched me on Google and thought that I'm from Germany. I'm actually not from Germany, and if you guys have been watching this channel for a long time, you guys know I was born in Russia. My blood is Russian. So let's talk about the messages that she sent me. So basically, I've been in Germany for 10 years. I have a really good friend that's German. She's super sweet and you're nothing like her. I have 2 degrees. I make a lot of money. I guess she's self-employed. And I was like, okay, I'm trying to make sense of why she's telling me all this, because this information is useless. I really need to know if there's something wrong with this house that I can take care of for her, or else we need to coordinate her exiting the house and me re-renting the place so I can give her some refund, because she actually isn't due any kind of refund at this point. So then it just escalated, and this is what I'm trying to tell her. And she called me rude. She called me the B word. She called me an antichrist. She called me, she actually literally said that she knows I'm going to die within the year, and alone and lonely, and she knows that I'm sitting with my money, lonely and without any kids or husband, and I'm already in hell, basically. Now, I will be more than happy to read the exact wording here to you. It's pretty scary, actually. But again, this is what guests do when they are kind of reminded of the agreements that they've made when they booked a particular listing, but then didn't really read it really well and decide to blow up on you. How do you handle that? So the first thing, the very most important thing, is not to also blow up, because these are things, when people say these things to you, it can make you very angry yourself. It can make you reactionary. It can make you start firing off messages, that absolutely have no merit. And it's very important to stay factual. And so that's what I did. I kept reminding her, hey, Airbnb has community standards. You're not allowed to be threatening or abusive or harassing or voice any kind of messages towards anybody that could be hurtful or rude. And as you can see, I'm Caucasian. This lady was an African American, or is an African American. She actually, and this happened to me several times already, because obviously my picture is on the Airbnb profile, that people of color, and I want to say this the most respectful way that I can, because I really don't care what race you are. I will welcome anybody and everybody, no matter your sexual orientation, your color, your race, where you're from. I really don't care. As long as you can follow my house rules, you're respectful and nice to me and my property, and you can pay the bill. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. So I wasn't gonna say anything about, like, if I had been racist, I wouldn't have hosted her, obviously. But she's an African American. I'm Caucasian, as you can see. I don't want to start any race wars here. But she sent me a picture that's hanging in my house, of a chair with a red background, kind of like a Vincent van Gogh picture. I didn't decorate the house. The house, I bought it from a friend who was being foreclosed on, and he just left all his furniture, including his decorations, including this picture, and said, that's very racist. You need to stop it. And this completely took me aback, because I have no idea what she's talking about. It could be some sort of trigger for her. I thought maybe she's handicapped in some way, and this is something that is triggering her. Then I thought maybe it's some sort of allegory, or maybe it's from a movie or some story. I'm not familiar with it. Even though I've been here living in the South most of my life, 30 years now, I should have picked up on that if that's something that's commonly known, but I just don't know. So I'm posting the picture here now. I'm gonna tell you what she said. She said, this is very racist. You need to stop it. That's basically what she said. So if you know what this picture is about, please let me know in the comments, because I have no idea still. I did post it on the Airbnb vacation rental host support group, and of course everybody blew up because I had made a comment asking her if she was disabled, if I need to accommodate that. And everybody's like, oh, that's so disrespectful and that's rude. But a lot of people also don't know the backstory. I mean, she's already harassed me. She's already used abusive language. She called me the B word to the video and in writing. Her daughters actually went past the cameras and flipped off the cameras, basically. And everything like this was captured. I actually even recorded her. She was standing outside on the phone accusing me that there's cameras inside the house. First off, it's against Airbnb policy. Second off, it's illegal. And I think morally and ethically that's wrong. So there's absolutely no cameras inside any of my listings, and not in the common areas, not in the sleeping areas, nowhere. And I'm very well aware of this. Also, the cameras that are outside are disclosed in the listing, also their location. So this was just another, well, I'm pissed off, I'm going to throw in the sink. So of course Airbnb security and safety calls me trying to verify what this is all about, what's going on. They have to investigate this, and I explained it to them, and then they dropped this case. But basically I spent an entire day, literally from 8 o'clock in the morning until about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, on the phone and on the computer, basically going through videos, taking pictures of all these individual humans that were going in and out of my house, counting them, making Airbnb aware that there's more than 6 people there that booked, and the dog, by the way. The dog isn't my dog, and the dog was going in and out of the house. So she never said anything about bringing the dog. So house rules were violated. She just didn't like the place and didn't like the fact that she couldn't just leave and get her money back from one day to the next. How did I manage this with Airbnb? Airbnb, after so many years with them, they've actually changed their management structure and how they deal with customers over the years. I have the privilege that I have been with them for 11 years. I kind of observed the differences. In the beginning, it was very pro-host. Now they're kind of like switching back and forth depending on who you get. But apparently now that there's different teams of Airbnb customer support people, and if you are new to Airbnb as a host, you kind of need to know that there's different people that you speak to. And also the outcome of this should really be that the pictures that she provided of my home that she said were dirty is actually just wear and tear, so it doesn't qualify for the air cover policy that she's covered under, which means we go back to my cancellation policy, which means she is not getting a refund if she leaves because she just doesn't like a place. However, as a courtesy, I always try to re-rent the place and give them at least a partial refund. That's just me being nice. I don't have to do that. So you need to be aware of the different departments within Airbnb, within customer service. So if you're a super host, you actually have access to a customer service group that supports the super hosts. So it's in your best interest to get the best support as a host and have some sort of backbone, especially if you've been doing it for a long time and have good reviews, that you get this particular support. If you get a regular customer support person, and what I have found is if they are already jaded, like in this case, when I spoke to the lady that had initially talked to the guest, she had already made up her mind to give her all the money back, cancel the reservation, and be done with it. And also even give her money back for the days she's already stayed, even though she obviously stayed there and she was going to get half the money back for those days too. So I was like, wait a minute, we need to look at this a little bit more objectively. So most of the day, and this was my bad, on Sunday, I spoke to this one individual when she had already at 8 o'clock in the morning made up her mind that she was going to go with the opinion of the guest instead of looking at this objectively. So I basically talked to her for a while, and when she was done with her shift, I called Airbnb back, and then the first person that answered the phone there in customer service, I asked them to take over this case and look at the notes, because I had at this point provided tons of pictures of all the different people that went in and out of the house. I've provided pictures and video of the dog, and have pointed out to her the cancellation policy as well as the house rules that were violated. So looking at that and looking at the pictures that the guest provided, she determined that a lot of the photos that were provided were actually of wear and tear. They were not dirty. In fact, there was nothing in there that showed any dirt, and I would have been surprised because I'm the one that cleaned it and I have a very high standard of cleaning. And she basically said, okay, well, we'll go back to cancellation policy. I jumped in there and then basically said, okay, we can actually make a exception here as long as the 2-week minimum stay is fulfilled and I'm paid for the 2 weeks, she can have the rest of the days back. I think this stay was booked for a little bit over 30 days, I believe 35 or so. So she would get approximately 21 days back. That's a lot of money. And that's money I didn't have to give back to them. But I did. That's what I agreed to. And so right now, the status is we're waiting to see what all happens. And the Airbnb ambassador, the last one I talked to, she is in charge of making that change. Of course, the guest is not going to agree to that. She's already said she's on the video where she's standing outside on her phone in front of my house, and it's being recorded because I have security cameras outside. She's basically yelling at the Airbnb representative that she's going to sue them, she's going to sue me. And I kind of explained to her that when you sign up for Airbnb, this is good for you to know if you use Airbnb as a host or as a guest. You actually agree to Airbnb's arbitration policy, which basically means that if there's a dispute, the final say is Airbnb's say. So if I don't agree with what the guest says, Airbnb will decide. And they will, of course, always follow their own guidelines. And if you can make a good case and more than anything, stay as calm as possible and as objective as possible with the guest, even though they're pissing you really, really off and saying some really nasty things, you need to stay courteous. You need to say ma'am. You need to be nice. I know it's hard. It's hard for me even, but I try to be that and just calmly discuss the problem. The thing with a dispute, it's not me against her or she against me, even though she thinks she's against me. We're actually both against the problem and we're trying to solve it, and that's the way it should be. So if you cannot get that solution to that kind of level of solution gathering with the guest, at least try to get to that level with the Airbnb support, being that you're not against the Airbnb, you're not against the guest. Airbnb will never be against the guest or the host because they really don't care. They make 20% on every reservation. But let's just get with Airbnb on the level of we're both against this problem and we want to find a solution. So that's my advice. I'm almost certain, not 100%, that I will get my way with reducing this reservation to 2 weeks. She's probably going to leave me a nasty review. We're going to see what it says. There's also standards of what you can and cannot write in a review. So maybe I'll even succeed in having the review removed if she says some of these nasty things. So we'll see, and I'll keep you updated. I'm not terribly upset about this, not really super offended, but I just want to tell you some of the things happen to you as a host. So when you manage your own property and you care about your properties, you kind of a little bit have to grow a thick skin in order to be able to handle cases like this. And also, since I haven't been on YouTube a long time, I have a lot of these stories, I have a lot of videos. I'm gonna start posting these things so you guys kind of learn and see what happens. So my biggest piece of advice for this video is basically, if you feel like you're not being heard by Airbnb, ask for a different support ambassador or ask for your case to be escalated. Always tell them, do not close this case, just keep it open until I speak to somebody else. And they have to grant you that at least, and continue talking to people until you hear somebody that seems to be neutral, that looks at your case in a neutral way, and then you have a better chance of getting this resolved. And of course, staying calm, staying objective, keeping with the facts, and providing the Airbnb representative with any and all documentation that they want to see, as well as references to your listing, such as here's my cancellation policy or here's my house rules, in case they didn't read it, because they look probably at so many cases every day that they get confused and they just don't want to look for stuff. But if you can make their job easier, and you make it easier by staying calm as well, then you will get a lot of bonus points on getting the case resolved in your favor. I wanted to tell you guys real quick what actually happened in the end with this reservation. It was an Airbnb guest from hell, basically, but she was restricted from Airbnb, and she would have had to agree to the anti-discrimination policy and community standards that Airbnb imposes on everyone to get access to her account again. I don't know if she ever did that, but I couldn't see her picture anymore, and she wasn't even on the profile. The Airbnb gave me full payout, and last but not least, she actually still had an opportunity to review me, which was unbelievable because of course she's gonna leave me a bad review, and it's the first review anybody will see because it's the last one made. So I kind of just waited until the 2-week period of her check-in date was up. I believe it's check-in or check-out date, I think one of those two, and 2 weeks from that. And I didn't leave her a review because I just didn't want to bother anymore. I could have wrote something bad too, but I was like, nah. And of course, her entire review really didn't say anything about the house. It was more about me, how she hated me, how I was a racist, and yada, yada, yada. It just went on and on and on. And I still have yet to figure out what kind of comments I made that made her feel like I was a racist, because as I always say to everybody, I am open to all cultures, heritages, colors of skin, sexual orientations, ages. It really doesn't matter who you are as long as you can pay the rent, really. And so I have no idea where she pulled that from, but I mean, it was just a constant attack. The first thing, she had nothing to complain about, so she said she was scared. I was like, okay. The second thing she said was basically, your place is dirty. That didn't stick because Airbnb didn't see anything in her pictures even that would verify that. And the third thing she said that there's cameras inside, but she never found any. So the last thing she could throw at me was the race card, and that didn't stick either because that is a biased opinion and it's against community standards and anti-discrimination policy. So maybe she'll watch this video. Dear Elsa, it's not your real name, of course. I changed your name, but you know who you are. It really would have been really good for you to kind of just calm it down a notch and try to solve the problem instead of thinking of me as the problem, because I actually had somebody that re-rented the house pretty quickly, and I would have given Elsa a refund for those days, but I couldn't reach her because her account was restricted, and honestly I really didn't want to talk to her again. So that's how that was resolved. So I hope you all have a great day. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe. Check out my audiobooks, my sessions on mentoring, and also check to see if you'd like to sign up for a class sometime. I was gonna teach a class here pretty soon, specifically on tax sale foreclosure investing, but we can also do it about Airbnb hosting. Have a great day, everybody. Bye bye.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.
Hi. No. Need to drink. So, talking is just hard anymore these days. I have to drink water. But what was I trying to say with this? Hi, I wanted to tell you guys real again.